Liv Morgan fans, you're going to want to hear what Tiffany Stratton just said, and you're going to hate what Tiffany Stratton just said. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what Tiffany Stratton had to say and why it could spell disaster for Liv Morgan. Because Liv Morgan, she is currently entailed and tied into a storyline with Rhea Ripley, and she has been for multiple months as Women's World Champion. She went on her revenge tour that has put her on another freaking level compared to where she was at in 2023. She most recently lost, technically, to Rhea at Bad Blood, but she has recruited and brought Raquel Rodriguez into the fold and to her side as her bodyguard. Yeah, she lost via DQ, but she still held on to the championship. And we're eventually going to get Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan 3. And I'm here for it. Tiffany Stratton, on the other hand, well, she's doing big things on Friday Night SmackDown, aligning herself with women's champion Nia Jax, and is still your women's Money in the Bank contract winner. That contract obviously allows her to have a championship opportunity of her choosing for the next year, depending on when she wants to cash it in and on which champion she wants to cash it in on. Is it Women's World Champion Liv Morgan, or is it Women's Champion Nia Jax? Now, we've seen countless instances of Tiffany Stratton teasing, almost nearly doing it by cashing in the Money in the Bank contract. However, she's yet to do so, but she is still aligned with Nia Jax, and it keeps fans talking. It keeps fans speculating as to when is Tiffany Stratton going to actually cash in. Liv Morgan, on the other hand, she's had her hands full, obviously, with Rhea Ripley, having one of the most over feuds in company history, I think, in recent times, at least. And they have been dominating Monday Night Raw with multiple segments throughout the show. And that is a large part due to Liv Morgan. Now, that leads us to today's video, because during a recent episode of Bustin' Open Radio, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, they talked about the bond that they have and how it'd be easy for Stratton to cash in on Liv Morgan when the time is right. And this is what Stratton had to say and why it's so significant. There is a second title. I feel like people forget that we've got Liv Morgan on Raw. Who knows? I could show up this Monday, or I could show up at here or there, and I'm going to be backstage roaming for my queen. I could easily just cash in on Liv after her match with Rhea and win the championship and become the Women's World Champion. So you'll have to wait and see. Now, obviously, this video is coming after Bad Blood, and this interview was before Bad Blood, but I think it still sets the precedent of, at any given time, she can cash in on Liv. And people forget about that, as Tiffany just said. Because it's like, she doesn't have to just cash in on Nia Jax. Why? Because she's on a SmackDown star? Who cares? The precedent has already been set. It's already been broken. Don't worry about that. She could go to NXT. She could cash in for the North American Championship in the women's division if she wanted to, right? Like, she can do anything she wants. She can go to Monday Night Raw and cash in on Liv Morgan. She could do it on Nia Jax. It doesn't matter who. It just matters whether or not she actually wins the championship when she does it, right? Like, that's the whole point. So if you look at it from that standpoint, it's like, oh, that's interesting, because Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, they're both heels. Do you anticipate Nia Jax going into being a babyface anytime soon after beating Bayley? No. Do you think Tiffany Stratton's going to go over and lose? No. Be a babyface anytime soon? She doesn't really have that dynamic as being a babyface. I think she's a much better heel. Liv Morgan, that's interesting, right? Like, yeah, she's feuding with Rhea, and I still think Rhea is going to eventually beat Liv Morgan for the championship. But here's what's something that I don't think people are paying attention to. What if you had a Rhea Ripley beat Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship, but then it was Tiffany Stratton who came out right then and there, or at a later date, and actually cashed in Money in the Bank on Rhea Ripley? Because then you would have the babyface versus heel dynamic. Or, and this is very possible, I understand that Liv Morgan has taken off as a heel, and she's probably a better babyface than a heel, although she's doing incredible work right now. What if you had Liv Morgan turn babyface, right? You could have Tiffany Stratton cash in. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you had Liv Morgan beat Rhea Ripley. She retains the Women's World Championship. Yay! And she goes on her merry way. That feud is over with. And all of a sudden, she gets laid out by a newcomer or whatever. And then you had Tiffany Stratton cash in. Or after a hard-fought match, Liv Morgan, she's absolutely exhausted. She took everything that her opponent was able to give her. She managed to walk out as Women's World Champion. She managed to win a match. She managed to stand tall in a segment, and here comes Tiffany Stratton. She cashes in. And you turned Liv back into a babyface. That could absolutely work, right? And maybe I'm just being... letting my bias come in here. I like babyface versus heel programs way more than babyface versus babyface or heel versus heel. That's just me. Let me know down in the comments there below, what do you like? But that's something in which could happen. Or you can just do heel versus heel if you really wanted to. But either way, I think WWE looks at Tiffany Stratton, and I think they view her as a big star and as someone who's going to be around for the next 7 to 10 years and is going to be on higher position on the card. And if that's the case, then you need to have her win the championship when she wins Money in the Bank, right? Hypothetically. And usually in the past, WWE likes to have top talent win when they cash in Money in the Bank, right? Not everyone is a Baron Corbin where they're not going to do much with them afterwards, right? So that is going to be interesting, and that is going to be fun to follow all along. Either way, I think Tiffany Stratton and Liv Morgan, should they ever feud, which I think is just a matter of time, considering that eventually Liv is going to be back as a babyface, and eventually they're going to try a Tiffany Stratton babyface run. You're going to eventually have Liv and Tiffany Stratton mix it up inside of the squared circle. It's just a matter of time from happening. Now, how everything plays out, that's a different story, right? Does Liv go over? Does Tiffany go over in that feud? Well, obviously time will tell. But in terms of Money in the Bank, in terms of the Women's World Championship, if I'm Liv Morgan, I'm definitely keeping an eye on Tiffany Stratton. If I see her backstage at a Monday Night Raw, or if I see her backstage at a PLE, I'm going to get a little paranoid, because it would make a lot more sense for Tiffany Stratton to cash in on Liv Morgan than she would a dominant monster, recently crowned women's champion in Nia Jax. Like, does she successfully cash in on a monster, or does she successfully cash in on little Liv Morgan? Well, it'd probably be Liv Morgan, right? Like, if you're just talking about psychology-wise, yeah, that would be the way to do it. So let me know down in the comments there below, do you think she will cash in on Liv Morgan, and will she be successful?